What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Sacred Cards. Today I'm coming at you with an update to my Earth Machine deck profile for January 2024. I get requests all the time to showcase Earth Machine as it's a fan favorite around the community. I have a bunch of other decks I want to update and some new stuff I've been building and testing. If you've seen my community posts, you know that I got a new desk set up and some new lighting, so it's a start for the improvements I've been trying to make. Earth Machine is a deck I've been working with for about 3 years now. It's definitely one of my favorites and can be very competitive in any meta. I'm constantly messing around with the ratios, so stay tuned for future updates. This is a 42 card list. I've decided to take a new route, or an older route actually, with the deck and go back to the Metal Cruncher build as I found the combos to be much more linear and consistent. It plays less bricks than before, so we are not playing Gear Frame or Unclass Bar. I've been trying to perfect the ratios, and I'm very happy with this list and its performance through testing. So, with all that said, I'll go through my list and try and explain the cards as best I can. Let's get right on into it. Now, I'm going to start with the Machina lineup first. 3 copies of Machina Metal Cruncher. One of our best starters. If you control no face-up cards, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Reveal 3 Earth Machines in your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one. If you want to go full combo, you can reveal 3 copies of Brutal Dozer to ensure you get it to your hand. It's good level fodder for Machina Fortress, and can basically search your deck for any card you might need. Next, we play a single copy of Machina Fortress. Machina Fortress can discard machine monsters whose levels equal 8 or more, including itself, to special summon it from the hand or graveyard. If it is destroyed by battle, you can destroy a card your opponent controls, and if it's targeted, you can look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card. Next, we have Machina Citadel. Citadel is a level 10 monster that must be special summoned by card effect. If an Earth Machine is destroyed, you can special summon it from the graveyard, and when it is on the field, quick effect, you can destroy a monster you control and all monsters on your opponent's side of the field with equal or less attack. Next, I have 1 copy of Machina Ruin Force. Ruin Force is another level 10 monster that can special summon itself from the graveyard by banishing monsters whose levels equal 12 or more. When your opponent activates a card or effect during the battle phase, you can cut your life points in half to negate it. And if you do cut your life points in half, and if you do cut your opponent's life points in half. 9 times out of 10, when this hits the field and you make it to battle phase, you win the game. So powerful. I absolutely love it. I will be honest though, you could consider cutting this card as it can be a brick, but it does synergize well with the Machina cards as well as redeployment. Personally, I'd rather play it, but it's all up to you if you want to or not. Next is the Infinitrack engine, starting with 3 copies of Infinitrack Harvester. One of the best starters in the deck. When is normal or special summon, you can search an Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand. You can also target another monster you control, and each of them become the combined levels of the 2 monsters you selected, making it easy to go into XC's place. Next is likely the heart and soul of the deck. 3 copies of Infinitrack Brutal Dozer. You definitely want to see this card or have access to it. We play 3 in this build to facilitate Metal Cruncher, being able to reveal all 3 copies to ensure you can add it to your hand. Dozer can tribute an Earth Machine monster and special summon itself from the hand, and if you do, special summon another Infinitrack monster from your deck. After that, we bumped up to 2 copies of Infinitrack Trencher. I like 2 copies for follow-up, and it's good in the grind game. Trencher can tribute an Earth Machine to special summon itself from the hand, and you can banish it from the graveyard to special summon a level 5 or lower Infinitrack from your graveyard. I do like the idea of having 2 copies, and I have in the past, but for this list, I've gone back to 2. You could play 1 or 2, but personally I like having 2 copies. Next, I'm on a single copy of Infinitrack Road Roller. I've always been a fan of this card as it's a great extender. If an Earth Machine is tributed or banished, you can special summon it from the hand or graveyard. Plus, if you XC summon with this card, you can change all monsters your opponent controls to defense position, and they lose 1,000 defense. Next is our Walking Pot of Avarice, 1 copy of Infinitrack Tunneler. Tunneler can tribute an Earth Machine to special summon itself from the hand, but the main effect is to banish itself from the graveyard, shuffle back 5 monsters, and draw 2 cards. Rounding off the Infinitrack package is 1 copy of Anchor Drill. I find this card to be even more important in this build as it's great follow-up turn 2 and searchable with Gearbox. When Anchor Drill is normal or special summon, it can summon an Earth Machine from your hand in defense position. Similar to Harvester, you can combine the levels of another monster you control, and they each become that level to help you make XC's plays. Next, we have the 1 copy of Ancient Gearbox. Gearbox is the 1 card you don't really want to see in your opening hand. You want to search this with your copy of Ancient Gear Ballista in the extra deck. When it is added to your hand, you can add an Earth Machine monster with 500 defense to your hand, usually to add a copy of Tunneler, Trencher, or Anchor Drill. Following that up are the trains. We have 1 copy of Super Express Bullet Train. Bullet Train can be special summoned if you only control Earth Machine monsters, so it's very easy to get out, and if it's sent to the graveyard that turn, you can target a machine back in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Usually you want to recycle your copy of Ancient Gearbox to search another Infinitrack from the deck. Now, a new ratio I've gone back to is 2 copies of Heavy Freight Train Derrick Crane. If an Earth Machine is summoned, you can special summon this card from your hand but have its attack and defense. When it is detached from an Xyz monster, you can destroy a card your opponent controls. Plus, if you draw into one of these turn 1, you can make Super Dora at the end of your combo. Now, the last Earth Machine I play is 2 copies of Therion King Regulus. This guy lets you target a Therion monster or machine in the graveyard, special summon this card, and equip the monster you selected. Its second effect is when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, send 1 Therion monster from your hand or field to negate that effect. And a Therion monster equipped with this card gains 700 attack and can activate this card's second effect as if it were a copy of King Regulus. Now, last of the monsters I play is 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Just to interrupt your opponent's plays, it's a good all-around hand trap, pretty standard, and if I'm only playing 1, you can't go wrong with a set of Ash Blossom. Now that is it for the monsters. Now moving on to the spells. For your Machina Searcher, 3 copies of Machina Redeployment. You can discard 1 card to add 2 Machina monsters from your deck to your hand. But if you discard a Machina card, you can add any 2 Machina cards from your deck to your hand, including the trap card Overdrive. For your Infinitrack Searcher, 3 copies of Heavy Forward. This card will add you any Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand, and it can attach itself to an Xyz monster or change its battle position. Next, we have 3 copies of Urgent Schedule. Good card, especially going second. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon 1 level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine monsters from your deck in defense position. And if this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a level 10 Machine monster from your deck to your hand. I also play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. If your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase, you can either draw 2 cards, take control of one of their monsters, or look at their hand and shuffle 1 card back into the deck. Now that is it for the spells. Now on to the traps. For the traps... the last spell card I play is 1 copy of Called by the Grave, mostly to stop your opponent's hand traps and graveyard effects. We do a lot of searching in this deck as well, so just an all-around great card to have available. Now moving on to the traps. For the traps, I run just a single copy of Machina Overdrive. This card does so much for the deck. You can target a machine monster you control, special summon a Machina monster from your hand or deck, then destroy the targeted monster, which is great for triggering your copy of Citadel in the graveyard or getting it out onto the field. You can also banish this card from the graveyard to target 3 machine monsters in your graveyard or banish pile, recycle them back into the deck, draw 1 card. Now, the last card in the main deck is 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is another great interruption for your opponent, whether you're going first or second. This deck is able to play a lot of good staples, which makes this deck so competitive. Now that's it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. Starting off with your Link 1, we have 3 copies of Infinitrack Goliath. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target an Xyz monster you control and attach this card as material. When it's being used as material, that monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. You make these during your main combo and recycle them back with your copy of Tunneler. Next is one of the most important cards in the deck. I've gone back to playing 2 copies of Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. During the main phase, quick effect, you can send a monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, target a level 10 machine in the graveyard to special summon a targeted level 10 monster in the graveyard and special summon it defense position. If it is in the graveyard, you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon this card. I like having a second copy available in case something happens to the first one, as it's a card you always want to have access to. Next, equally important, is 1 copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista will search your copy of Ancient Gear box from your deck, which then gets you another search. It can also destroy a spell trap you control, and if you do, change the attack of a monster your opponent controls to 0. Really good for inflicting some heavy damage. The last Link monster I play is 1 copy of Clifford Genius. This card does come up often enough so that it's worth playing. Clifford Genius is great when paired with your copies of Urgent Schedule. This Link summon card is unaffected by spells, traps, and other Link monsters. You can target a card on either player's field, negate their effects, and if 2 monsters are summoned to its zones at the same time, you can add a level 5 or higher machine to your hand. Now for the Xyz monsters, starting with 1 copy of Infinitrack Riverstormer. Riverstormer is a rank 5 that can detach material to add any Earth machine from your deck to your hand, so it can basically search your entire deck for any card you need. If it is in your graveyard, you contribute a machine Link monster to special summon it back in defense position. Also, if it does happen to destroy a monster by battle, you can attach that card as material. For the rank 9s, I play 1 copy of Infinitrack Earthslicer. Earthslicer can detach any amount of materials to destroy that many cards on the field. Like Riverstormer, you contribute a machine Link monster to special summon it back from the graveyard. As well, if it destroys a monster by battle, you can attach that card as material. Another rank 9 option is 1 copy of Phantom Fortress Enter Blathnir. It's a non-Earth machine, but it is another good option to have access to. You can detach a material to either banish a card your opponent controls, banish a random card in your opponent's hand, banish a card in their graveyard, or banish the top card of their deck face up. Now for the rank 10s, 1 copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. Dora can quick effect detach a material to target a card on the field and make it unaffected by card effects. We then have 1 copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Gustav Max can detach material to burn your opponent for 2,000 life points. And stacking on top of the rank 10s is 1 copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Lieb. Lieb can be Xyz summoned by using a rank 10 machine monster as material. This card can make attacks on all monsters up to the number of materials it has, +1. So great for running over your opponent's board. If you detach material, you can increase its attack and defense to 6,000. But if you do, only he can attack, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, I feel like you can't play an Xyz heavy extra deck without a copy of AA Zeus. If an Xyz monster battled this turn, you can stack this card on top of its materials, then quick effect, you can detach 2 materials, send all the cards on the field to the graveyard. If another card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can attach a card from your hand, deck, or extra deck as material. And finally, the last card I play in the extra deck is 1 copy of Dingirsu. This is here because you often have a follow-up play with Anchor Drill and Gearbox in your hand, so it's a great option to summon this card and send 1 card your opponent controls to the graveyard. Plus, if any cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can simply detach a material instead. Well, that is it for the deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything you like or don't like, feel free to leave me a comment telling me what you think. Be sure to like the video if you did, and subscribe for more content. Thank you for your support. Enjoy the sacred cards, and I'll see you all in the next one.